Chapman, owner of Chapmans, a property letting and management company based in Edinburgh. So, with the end of 2019 firmly behind us and the start of a new year and a new decade ahead, I feel this is a good time to reflect on the changes that have occurred in the market affecting the day-to-day reality of letting and management, and a chance to crystal ball gaze into the future. So perhaps missed in all the press activity about Brexit and the recent general election, 2019 saw the second anniversary of the new PRT, private residential tenancy regime. And this year marks the second anniversary of the new code of practice for letting agents in Scotland. So how has it been? So there have been many advantages of the new private residential tenancy, with a simplification of documentation and the ability to have tenants sign their leases electronically. Now this is superb, with international tenants or guarantors spread far and wide. This has speeded up the process of us securing the tenancy, both for our tenants and for our landlords. However, the speeding up of the process has proved vital due to the extraordinary turnaround times now required for reletting management properties. Our PRT tenants only have to give, in essence, 28 plus 2, but 30 days notice of their intention to leave a rental property. Now, this is often less than half of what we had under the short assured tenancy regime. And that gives us as agents very little time to inform our landlords of the change, remarket the properties with accurate rental valuations, booking viewings for new tenants before the current property is stacked high with boxes and not in the optimum state for viewings. And we have to ensure the shortest possible time on turnarounds, because an empty property is a non-earning property. At Chapmans, through investing in rigorous systems, referencing and new technology, we are delighted that we still maintain our strong record of only 4 working days between tenancies. And we have done this by further strengthening our relet process, increasing our information sharing with tenants at move-out time, and investing in a 24/7 booking viewing system. And did you know that about 37% of tenants in Edinburgh carry out their viewing inquiries outside office hours? And in the quieter winter period, being able to capitalise on capturing the interest of the best quality tenants is crucial for occupancy and being able to maintain our record of no rental arrears. There are so many elements of the letting market, the new regime and changes in tenant profile, so a marked decrease in Polish tenant applications, but an increase in Asian applications, that it would be really hard to do justice to all the subtle variations in the marketplace in a bite-sized update like this. However, one key note that is very apparent as we approach our traditional time for reletting HMO properties is the change in the historic seasonality for letting these types of student properties. So traditionally in Edinburgh, February-March time was the prime time to market and secure new tenancies for students, usually locking them in for 9 or 12-month tenancies from July or September. However, as a result of the open-ended nature of the PRT leases, we can only do that once existing tenants have confirmed their intentions for the current tenancy. So we cannot market a property with an accurate move-in date or sign up a new tenant until all current tenants have served their notice and crystallise that move-out date. So we are having to communicate and educate our tenants and our landlords more and more about this process in a bid to ensure potential voids are mitigated. Now, fortunately, all our HMO, House of Multiple Occupation properties, were relet without issue or void last summer. But this was not the case across the whole market, with landlords having to market their properties during student exam time, so May, or even once term had broken up and students had dispersed for the summer vacation. September 2019 then saw a flurry and a scramble for students trying to find a property to rent, and they were competing with professional tenants as well. Now, we're wondering, are they going to learn from this and feel more inclined to sign up for a tenancy from, say, June to avoid that risk of scrabbling about in September 2020? So at Chapmans, we are now going through our period of rent reviews, and this should prove an interesting process with the 2-pronged approach for short assured tenancies and private residential tenancies, we need to be mindful of the 84 days notice of our intention to increase the rent on a PRT, but also the ability for a tenant to very easily serve their notice and move to another property. At Chapmans, we strongly feel that a let property is the best property, and so we would always urge our landlords to take cognizance of the fact that tenants can easily vote with their feet. The longer the tenancy, the more profitable the tenancy. And as a Q3 2019 City Let report shows, the time to let most properties in Edinburgh has lengthened year on year by 6 days. So that's up from 21 days to 27. So that's quite a big increase. And there's also been a trend of a reducing growth rate in rental values. So they're still going up, but the rate at which they're going up is not as much. And by coupling this with the shorter notice periods that tenants are giving us, we must bear that in mind when assessing the merits of an above market rental increase. So against all of this background, it's perhaps not surprising that we absolutely love our one-bedroom properties. These are outperforming the rest of the market with an average 20 days time to let and really strong demand. So now that we've covered off some concepts that arose in 2019, I'm wanting to look ahead to 2020, this exciting new decade. Now we hope that this year we'll see more enforcement of the Letting Agent Code of Practice. There are still rogue agents operating without a licence, and we also welcome more findings from the Housing and Property Chamber in terms of the private residential tenancy regime, because this will help us clarify more detail about it as it's tested further through the tribunal. We expect to see further investment in the market from investors. We expect to see more limited companies being used for buying rental property. And we see further investment in the large one-bedroom market, as we've already talked about. In terms of our tenants, we see continued strong demand for quality properties, irrespective of their location. A rental property is increasingly seen as a tenant's long-term home, and tenants are more discerning than ever. A well-presented, well-managed, and well-maintained property is absolutely key to attracting and retaining the best tenants in this competitive marketplace. We also expect to see more scrutiny this year on the holiday let market. But with the new legislation pending, we feel the impact of this on the long-term market will probably be delayed for another year or two whilst the real impact of the legislation comes into force. We expect to see more political pressure surrounding communal repairs, so perhaps a push for factoring of more traditional tenements or really well-organised residents' associations, as the state of our beautiful historic housing stock has been woefully underinvested in recent years. Okay. So we've talked about our landlords, we've talked about our tenants for 2020, and now for Chapmans. Chapmans are poised for another year of double-digit growth through organic referrals from our wonderful client base, from our professional partners, and from our existing tenants. No matter what challenges the year brings, we are ready and excited to continue to work day and night for our landlords and tenants. We aim to build further on our reputation for professionalism, attention to detail, and really strong customer service, as well as build on our recent results of our fantastic client satisfaction survey.